Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Screen Scene Guru coming at you with a television update. I am going to talk about the new episodes of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. Also, some more television news, updates on trailers. Let's get into it though. I've got the IMDb page pulled up. So let's go on. Let's see. More episodes. Most recent. Okay. Okay. So, after we left off the last time, we watched Trespass, which was episode 4. I'll go into a bit of a detail. To get Hiroshi's device back, Shaw and the team execute a daring heist at Apex Cybernetics. So this is a really good episode. A lot of people were likening it to Jurassic World because they were, of course, releasing these creatures they had acquired from Kong's Island, Skull Island. They were studying ways of controlling these creatures by putting like chips in them. So that was a really good episode. Episode 5, we got Ferocito. In Santa Soledad, Titan X becomes a target for Apex, forcing Shaw and the Renatas to infiltrate and covert experiment. So they're, of course, trying to control Titan X with this software. It ends up ripping one of the arms off to prevent the link from uploading. Very interesting stuff. We do know that Kate has a psychic connection to Titan X. Not exactly sure why yet, but really interesting stuff building up here. We've got episode 6, Requiem. This came out on April 3rd. Shaw and Suzuki test the Titan phone, designed to summon Godzilla, triggering an unforeseen event that puts Shaw in the path of his own past. So really interesting stuff here, guys. Episode 6. It ended with a bit of a cliffhanger with him hearing himself on the radio. He was talking to himself in the past after they sent him through Axis Mundi, that other dimension. Really interesting scene where we get to see both Riot Russell and Kurt Russell, the dad, interact with each other. So that's cool. Then we've got episode 7, String Theory. Shaw receives an impossible radio transmission. Kate and Kiryu uncover an ancient link to Titan X. Isabel has a proposition for Kirito. So really interesting stuff in this episode as well. We get to see Shaw talks to his younger self and tells him, you can't save Kimiko yet. He has to wait for her granddaughter to save her, to make sure all the conditions are right. Very interesting stuff with Kate, and her grandmother trying to get over the grief of her son and Kate's father. And her brother's also mourning the loss, but he's kind of going over toward Apex. It looks like he's leaning towards supporting Apex. Amber Midthunder showed up in the show, so really good from Predator franchise. I had no idea she was going to join the cast of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. She's a great addition. So going on from there, we got top rated episode 7, which came out on April 10th. Then on April 17th, we got episode 8, Separate Ways. This was the last one I saw. Titan X makes landfall in Australia, where Shaw lures Godzilla into a showdown. Isabel uses the battle as a distraction for her secret operation. So really cool stuff here. We get to find out Isabel is the daughter of the guy who formed Apex. So very interesting stuff. We do know from the movies that in Godzilla King of Monsters, Apex is the company that builds the Mega Godzilla. So most likely they're trying to get DNA samples to build that still. But yeah, interesting that they're setting up the next film in this series, even though they're kind of a film behind in explanation. It's kind of interesting. Going on, it looks like we got 2 episodes left, guys. There is one that dropped today on Friday called The Ends of the Earth. And then the last episode, episode 10, is dropping on May the 1st. So the May the 1st is the season wrap up, I believe. So really cool to catch up on this before it ends, guys. It's building up really cool stuff here. I'm wondering how they're going to explain, Titan X's importance to, the global other Titans like Godzilla, Kong. We've seen him show up on Skull Island, and now he's been moving around. So let's see what he's here for. I know they revealed in the last episode, episode 8, Titan X has been trying to protect this egg this whole time, and Apex went into the operation. They swooped up the egg as Godzilla and Titan X were fighting. So now Apex is going to study the egg, figure out what it is. Probably just a smaller version of Titan X, but still, what is that? How can they control it, possibly? So yeah, really interesting stuff going on there. It looks like in episode 9 they're going back to Skull Island, so that's really cool. Skull Island is great place, great location to go. It's where we lost Randa, the expert who ended up making the migratory charts for the Titans, which was really cool. I hope they print out a poster of that. That'd be really cool if they did, because the MonsterVerse has gotten only bigger in the last few years, and they are building up to the release for Godzilla -1, or -0 is it now? I think, because -1 came out, but -0 sounds like a really cool title as well. But yeah, that wraps up my coverage for Monarch. Let's get into my movie notes real quick, because I've got a few pages worth. So let's start off with Mandalorian and Grogu. I showed off the magazine the other day, which was pretty cool. Talking about how season 4 of The Mandalorian and Grogu was going to set up Thrawn's storyline, but they decided to not do that. They decided to go with Ahsoka setting up Thrawn, and it did it perfectly, in my opinion. And they're also talking about how this movie, Mandalorian and Grogu, will set up future projects. So not only Ahsoka season 2, but also possibly more Mandalorian and Grogu movies, possibly a trilogy. We're not sure. And yeah, the path to get more Grand Admiral Thrawn in more projects. Now we're not sure if he's gonna show up at the end of Maul Shadow Lord. There's been some rumors and teasing that he might appear. I haven't started the series, so I need to catch up a bit. I do want to talk about real quick Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, one of the rings that I currently wear. It is returning this year, before the end of the year. So we haven't got a release date yet from Amazon, but I'm guessing they're going to be appearing at Comic-Con this year. They usually do a big panel with orcs and other things. So season 3 of Rings of Power has been greenlit for 2026 release at some point. Coyote vs. Acme dropped its first trailer, which looked pretty good. Then going on from there, let's see. Jake Barber was recently in interviews. He was talking about this Italian coming forward, talking about getting close to a craft and getting sick, exposed. So Jake Barber has come forward. He was a Air Force pilot. He was private contractor who supposedly transported the egg craft. You guys can see that reporting on News Nation. Jake Barber also has reported that everyone on his team has experienced hair loss, which is a result of radiation type of stuff. So he is actually backing up this individual from Italy, this general that is coming forward with his story, saying that they have very similar medical issues. So that's interesting. It's backing up this claim. Texas was rocked by 2 house explosions the other day, back to back. Police and first responders appearing to the first house explosion, only to have another explode moments later. They're still investigating what was the cause. Sydney Sweeney apparently was cut from Devil Wears Prada 2. Now, this isn't the only actress that apparently has lost her scenes. Apparently, there's several actresses that are complaining on social media, saying the studio, which is, I believe, Disney, didn't feel like they needed to, promote certain actresses. I'm not sure if this is because of the fallout from Euphoria season 3, or they think that maybe she's been in the movies enough with The Housemaid. Not sure. She is due to be in the Netflix live-action Gundam film, which recently was a full cast was announced. James Gunn starts to film Man of Tomorrow as well. Pics have revealed Lex Luthor's new jail cell and him playing chess and the new logo for the film. So that's pretty cool. Lucasfilm has begun to promote Mandalorian and Grogu footage. They've shown off the first 20 minutes at CinemaCon. They gave other news outlets footage to review, which it was a funny fight sequence with them driving those goofy cars, those speeder cars, which they looked better in the 1970s than they do now. But I don't know what's up with that. The speeder cars from Book of Boba Fett level. Mandalorian driving, Zeb fighting some stormtroopers. So that scene in particular to be showing off is very television in my opinion, but apparently the critics really liked it. We'll have to see how it translates on screen. They took the footage to the headquarters in LA, the IMAX headquarters. So that's a big deal, and played it for them. But the critics said it was very TV-like and almost like a video game. So not sure if fans will like that or really be against it, but the fact that the movie is sounding like TV and a video game is a bit concerning. Scary Movie 6 released a clip apparently making fun of the new Michael movie, new Michael documentary. Well, it's not really a documentary, but the new Michael biopic. Curry Baker set to direct the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre at A24. And if you guys don't know who Curry Barker is is responsible for the new Obsession film that's being dropped in a few days. Or I think it's dropping in a few days. I'm not exactly sure. I have to look into that for the release date. But Obsession, he's doing Obsession, and he's doing a new Texas Chainsaw. First look at Sadie Sink as Jean Grey with the Punisher in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So let's see. And her hair was looking a little whack, that wig they gave her. But it matches the pics of Punisher and Spidey that have been leaked online, so we're guessing this is real concept art. CIA agents were killed in Mexico City after a drug cartel bust. Very Sicario-like. And even the Madam President of Mexico is demanding answers of why the CIA was operating in Mexico City. Apple TV releases the first footage of Star City. Really getting excited about this, guys. This looks very fantastic from Apple. It is streaming on May 29th, so at the end of May. Moffat, an aerospace engineer. I want to bring awareness to the missing scientists and the unalived researchers of the nuclear and propulsion industry. Recently we heard a report that a defense engineer's family in a plane in South Carolina went down. This is including the missing scientists of the engineers and the propulsion scientists have gone missing or dead. It says that James Tony Moffatt, 60 years old, he was with his wife and 2 children when their plane went down. Um, he was tied to nuclear and space research. And it's just very interesting that he was in a Mooney M20 single-engine plane returning home from Huntsville, Alabama, which they just discovered another researcher, nuclear propulsion scientist, unalived in his Tesla car in Huntsville. After a year of searching for him, he's been missing for a year. They just recovered his body in his vehicle. So very interesting stuff is happening in Huntsville and Alabama. But yeah, very interesting. And Joseph Krasinski just released the title for the new Miami Vice, titled Miami Vice 85, with Austin Butler and Michael B. Jordan. We're not sure if 85 is supposed to stand for the year. Maybe it just stands for a significant scene in the movie. We're not exactly... They could be titling these films eras, but we're not sure. Very concerning stuff. Punisher One Last Kill gets a TVMA rating. So, of course, it's going to have blood, violence, TVMA, which is typical. The new Daredevil got that. I believe a couple other shows on Disney got it, but not a lot. This is going to be like the 5th or the 6th show that has been able to get TVMA, which is very good. Fans have been asking for it for years. HBO Max The Pit gets a 15.4 million viewership for the season finale. Apparently it's 50% up from season 1, which season 1 was pretty good. So they are going to do a season 3. Even though they announced a cast reduction, they're not going to bring back everyone from season 2. I guess because how they felt certain actors were taking away from the morals, or I guess the lead. Even though it's Noah Hawley's show, some people felt like Noah Hawley was being kind of a diva and stealing the starlight from other actors and actresses. Warner Brothers Paramount deal is approved by the board, by the shareholders. Predator versus the Planet of the Apes comic book line gets greenlit by Disney because they own 20th Century Studios, 20th Century Fox. I don't mind this, to be honest. I mean, at least it gets the ball rolling for something going on with both those franchises. But like infamous, iconic legend on YouTube, Robert Meyer Burnett at the Burnett Work says, 20th Century Fox, their slate, their projects have been left in the dust since Disney has acquired them. But it's very interesting that WBD sign off on the merger needs government approval. There is still several hurdles they need to go through before this deal is official. Senators, congressmen, people of big stature need to approve it, and of course the president himself. So Miami Vice, it's getting an August release date, which a lot of people in the industry and the trades are wondering if it's coming out in August of 2027, because they have to film it still. Does that mean Austin Butler has a chance to be in Heat Part 2? We're not exactly sure. Charles Dance was cast in Batman Part 2. I talked about this before. Now it's been confirmed. He is part of the Warner Brothers family, being from Game of Thrones. And he was in Godzilla Kong King of Monsters. Or I guess it was just Godzilla King of Monsters. Stephen Cable Jr. will direct the sequel to I Am Legend 2. Really good director here. He directed Creed 2 and the last Transformers, Rise of the Beasts. Then the Hulk Hogan, A Real American documentary is actually getting a lot of praise on Netflix. It is being made by WWE people, but some people are likening it better than the Michael biopic. So it's very interesting that Hulk Hogan, American Hero, is getting better praise than Michael. Didn't expect that. And then Lick Vicious is the first gay horror film being advertised. Trailer's out. I haven't heard of this film, but it's cool to see new genres being made. It's coming out from Neon, which Neon's pretty good. about coming out with these things. Studios say they're extending the theatrical release date to movies, so they're going from 45 days to possibly 60 days or longer. Jordan Peele is still working on a film from Universal, but he doesn't have the script ready yet, so they're kind of bugging him about that. 1,000 layoffs from people at Disney. This is mostly from the people in the visual effects department, which are the people that cut and paste the stuff for the television shows on Disney Plus. I know there's some visual effects that go into making the movies, but usually that's contracted out to other private contractors. What I've been hearing is a lot of the people they fired most recently in this 1,000-person layoff were like 60% of them were people that worked on TV. So unfortunately, they're going to have to, step their game up when it comes to television. And I've heard, Wonder Man is supposed to be pretty good. They're coming out with television shows. They're supposed to be interesting. But the writing and the scripts need to be done by like real showrunners. Okay, we got Eric Burlison talks UAP video he's seen. He's a Republican from District 7, Missouri. He should be taken seriously, guys. He's growing his beard out a bit, I've noticed. He was on a podcast with Annie Frey, and they talk about the craft being observed around nuclear sites and near bodies of water, which we've known about for years. At least now a sitting congressperson is discussing it. Let's see, on February 11th, so a few months ago, El Paso airspace was shut down for several hours. Their airport was essentially closed. They weren't not given an explanation from the FAA or anyone. But this was, of course, the counter-drone equipment that is in the mountains of El Paso. There is a base, which is titled Fort Bliss. So Fort Bliss in the mountains behind El Paso Airport has been known for decades for being a secret facility management for high advanced tech. And supposedly in the last few years, one of their leading experts, or one of the leading things they do out there, is counter drone equipment. So essentially fleets of drones, or encountering new different types of drones, and just weird counter warfare stuff. And the fact they're shutting down airports and not telling people what's going on, it is concerning. The mayor got on their ass about it. And of course, a big thing in the last year plus that the U.S. has tried to press is that the cartels in Mexico have advanced drones with surveillance equipment, and that we need to take them down to stop the drugs from coming over the country. When we've known the drugs have stopped for the last year. There's been a large reduction in bad stuff coming across the borders. Drones, yes, they are using small drones, but they're not using these larger, much more sophisticated equipment. This is like UAP technology that they're trying to pass for drones used by cartels. Come on. And yeah, some people are mentioning these supposed drones have directed energy weapons. That's not something the cartel has. So the government needs to come clean about this shit. Going on, we've got hopefully more information will be released by the summer, people are believing. Stuff in anti-gravity, this energy weapon stuff will be discussed because enough people are coming out either missing or dead that now the mainstream general public will know about it. So going on, we've got even Congress is involved. Congress wants answers. They're talking about having a new hearing on it, which, if you ask me, the hearings they've had before on all these things have been cute, they've been fine, but let's bring in some real experts before they're dead, hopefully, to say what they have to say. Let's get them in front of camera, live television, if they can do that and manage it. I've got another individual, Joshualebianc, Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'll put it in the comments down below or the descriptions. He's a 29-year-old aerospace engineer. He was working on nuclear propulsion. He went missing in 2025. His family and friends first declared him missing when he didn't show up to work, which was unusual. He left his phone and his wallet at home, and he wasn't seen for like a year, guys. And then most recently, this is a few months ago, he was discovered in Alabama, in Huntsville, in his Tesla car. It had gone off the road. It had hit the curb and rolled and caught fire. But according to Tesla's data recall center, his car had been parked in the airport for like 4 hours, and they don't know why it was there. They don't know where he was when his car was parked at the airport. But the fact that his body somehow returned to the car and was set ablaze is very interesting. He was an employee for NASA, so this is like the 5th person from NASA that has turned up dead out of that missing scientists list. The list is only growing here in the US. I've got more intel on that. If you guys support my channel, follow me for more info. But real quick, I'll just go into, he was found dead in his Tesla car, like I said. Alabama, what's going on in Huntsville. The last known project he was working on was the Dracoproject. Now, if you guys are familiar with the Draco, that's the reptilian. Supposedly some of them are friendly, some of them are not. I'm not exactly sure. Fascinating they named the project he was working on the Draco Project. And they talked about nuclear thermal engines used for deep space missions. So it's like, of course, this guy knew too much and someone punched his ticket. Terrible. And it's a crime. Let's see. In China, let's real quick jump across the pond and just cover some stuff going on. I know not a lot of people like to bring up the topic. They've got missing scientists too. They've got missing and dead. So apparently in China's Newsweek, they've been reporting on at least 9 individuals that they're aware of. Some of these were professors. Some of these were high experts in their field, in the military, in AI. So this is very concerning. They were also experts in hyperspace weapons. Professor Fung discussed that he was the leading member and a peacekeeper in his field. Now, he is dead, unfortunately. Science.net, if you guys follow that, has written a paper saying that his death was a sacrifice. They also claim that he was performing AI simulated drills on Taiwan, and he was informing the government that the drills were not going as they planned. So a lot of people believe that he was killed for them to continue the work, these AI simulations, hopefully get a result that they want to get, and then actually go through with the war, which is really crazy to hear. Fang was a member of AI simulations. He did this for work all the time. He calculated potential Taiwan scenarios for the government, so that was his job. His death by a car crash is very suspicious. A lot of people are claiming he was buried at the hallowed Bahan ceremony or cemetery in Beijing, which they've also claimed only very loyal people to the Communist Party are buried in that cemetery. So they're trying to say that his death, in the scientific community, they're saying on their journals, in their papers, online, was not only orchestrated by the government, but it was a sacrifice. He's a hero, he's a patriot, all this stuff. So it's very concerning what they're saying over there. But yeah, he was buried in Beijing. The area of death are happening in hypersonics and the military. So very concerning stuff there. AI swarm tech, so drones that can maneuver and do things in cohesion, multiple. It's more unusual, they're saying, than what they originally anticipated. There's no proof yet of a counter-scientist kill contract, is what they're calling it. But they do believe that countries pit agents against each other. So if they think one country is developing too many nuclear scientists, we're aware that Israel has a program for making sure Iran does not develop a nuclear weapon. That is partly why we have gotten involved in the Iran conflict, to prevent them from developing nukes. But if Israel is allowed to take out nuclear scientists, is that allowing other countries to do the same? That's a big question being asked. China may have presence on the moon, mining helium-3 as well. That might be why Artemis recently went up to take pictures of the moon, not only to confirm our Apollo landings, but to see what the competition's like in 2027. So we've got jackryanghostwar, the movie from Prime, is officially coming out. Guys, if you're a big fan of the Jack Ryan series, it's been a minute since we've gotten any news updates, but it's coming out on May the 20th. And I don't believe it's getting a theatrical run. I believe it's just hitting streaming, which is unfortunate, but hopefully a lot of people will get to see it that way. And then we've got The Vampire Lestat coming out on June 7th. They've got a new trailer for that as well. I think that was it for my movie news, guys. So be sure to follow my channel for more updates, more breaking news and all the things. If you guys haven't already, you can follow me here on YouTube by subscribing. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I do a couple of updates there. But until my next video, I'll say have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye-bye.